Imagine walking into a store, dressed simple, minding your own business, only to be told by the clerk that people like you don't belong here. Now imagine being that man, and knowing you're a billionaire who owns half the companies that stock that very store. That was the reality for Marcus Hale. Marcus didn't look like the stereotype of wealth. He was dressed casually in jeans, a plain black t-shirt, and old sneakers. No flashy watch, no bodyguards trailing behind. He liked it that way, humble, low-key, invisible. But inside that small luxury boutique on Fifth Avenue, invisibility didn't protect him. The clerk, a young woman with a sharp tongue and sharper eyes, barely glanced at him before shaking her head. "I think you're lost. This store is for paying customers, not window shoppers." Marcus blinked, confused. "Excuse me, I just came to look at a few watches." Her lips curled into a mocking smile. "Right, and I just came to win the lottery. Why don't you try the discount store down the street? You'll be more comfortable there." Shoppers nearby paused, whispering, some chuckling uncomfortably. Marcus felt the sting deep in his chest. Not because he couldn't afford the watch, but because she saw his skin first, and his worth last. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "I assure you I can afford anything in this store." She scoffed. "Sure, and I'm the Queen of England." When Marcus reached for a display case, she quickly stepped in front of him. "Don't touch anything. If you break it, you definitely can't pay for it." A couple walked by, eyes darting between Marcus and the clerk. The tension was thick, but the humiliation thicker. And then Marcus sighed, pulled out his sleek black wallet, and slid out a card, platinum engraved with his name. Marcus D. Hale, founder and CEO, Hale Enterprises. The clerk froze. Her eyes scanned the name, then widened. Hale Enterprises wasn't just a company. It was the company. An international empire with investments in tech, luxury fashion, and yes, the very watch brand she was guarding. Marcus leaned in, his voice low but steady. "Do you know who signs the checks for half this store's merchandise?" "Me." The smirk vanished from her face. Her hands shook slightly. I didn't know." Marcus straightened his shoulders. "You didn't care to know. You saw what you wanted to see." The whispers grew louder. Someone pulled out a phone, recording. The clerk's arrogance crumbled into visible panic. And just when Marcus thought justice had been served, things shifted again. The store manager stormed out from the back, his face tight. "What's going on here?" The clerk stammered. I was just trying to make sure he didn't." But the manager silenced her with a glare. He turned to Marcus, instantly respectful. "Mr. Hale, I am so sorry. Please accept our deepest apologies." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "How do you know my name?" The manager's face paled. "Sir, we were informed by the corporate that you occasionally visit stores incognito. We were told to treat you with the utmost respect." The irony hit Marcus like a brick. The corporate knew, management knew. Yet on the ground floor he had been treated like dirt. "Interesting," Marcus said slowly. "So you knew I could walk in at any time. But you didn't train your staff to treat everyone with respect, billionaire or not." The manager swallowed hard. "Sir, please, we can fix this." But Marcus held up his hand. "No, this isn't about fixing my experience. This is about fixing your culture." Just then, Marcus's phone buzzed, a text from his executive assistant. "Urgent. News outlets are already circulating a video of the incident, trending in minutes." Marcus looked around. Several shoppers had their phones out, recording every word, every expression. The store's polished reputation was seconds away from crumbling. The manager begged, "Please, Mr. Hale, give us a chance to make this right." Marcus tilted his head, studying him. "Make it right? That depends. How many others have walked into this store and been treated like me, but without the privilege of a billionaire's ID to shield them?" The silence that followed was heavier than stone. The clerk's face was pale, tears threatening her eyes, but Marcus didn't waver. "This isn't just about me," he continued. "This is about everyone who's walked through your doors and been judged unworthy, and I won't let it slide." The shift of power was complete. The underdog had risen, the arrogant had fallen, but the story didn't end there. Because as Marcus stepped out of the store, the crowd parted like the Red Sea. Reporters were already waiting outside, microphones ready, cameras flashing. One shouted, "Mr. Hale, will you shut this store down? Are you filing a lawsuit? Is this the end for this brand?" Marcus paused, the weight of the moment pressing on him. He could destroy them with a word, But before he could answer, his phone buzzed again. Another text? This one read, "Marcus, don't do anything rash if you bring this scandal down on the brand. Remember, your company's stake is tied to theirs. You could lose billions." Marcus's breath caught. Destroying the store meant destroying his own empire. The cameras kept flashing. The reporters kept shouting. And Marcus Hale stood there, torn between justice and survival. Would Marcus protect his billion-dollar empire, or burn it all down to stand for what was right? The world was watching. If you're really enjoying this story, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you never miss my latest uploads. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. When we left, Marcus Hale, the billionaire CEO, had just exposed the arrogance of a store clerk who refused to serve him. The entire world had witnessed her collapse in humiliation when Marcus revealed who he truly was. But then came the twist. Marcus stepped outside the boutique to a sea of flashing cameras. Reporters pressed in, their voices sharp and desperate. "Mr. Hale, are you suing the store? Will you shut down the entire chain? Are you declaring war on this brand?" Marcus's phone buzzed again. This time, the message was colder, sharper. "If you burn them down, you burn yourself too. Your company's empire is tied to theirs. Choose carefully." It was true. Marcus's empire held a massive stake in the luxury brand. His outrage could destroy their reputation, but in doing so, billions of his own dollars would crumble into dust. The irony stung. The same wealth that gave him the power to expose injustice was also the chain keeping him silent. That night, Marcus sat alone in his penthouse overlooking the city. The lights below glittered, but his thoughts were heavy. He poured himself a glass of water, staring at his reflection in the window. "Do I protect my empire, or destroy it for justice?" he whispered. Suddenly, his assistant Lydia stormed in with a tablet in hand. "Marcus, you need to see this." On the screen was a video, not just of his incident, dozens of others. Clips of black men and women being followed in stores, a Latina mother being accused of theft, an Asian teenager being mocked for just browsing. The same brand, the same arrogance, over and over. Marcus's chest tightened. It wasn't just about him, this was systemic. "This is bigger than your billions," Lydia said softly. "This is about every person who's been humiliated the same way you were. You have the platform to end it." Marcus's fists clenched. The choice was becoming clear, but the cost would be devastating. The next morning, Marcus called a press conference. The entire city buzzed with anticipation. The luxury brand scrambled, releasing a hollow apology overnight, claiming it was an isolated incident. But Marcus knew better, and so did the people. Standing at the podium, cameras flashing, Marcus looked directly into the crowd. "Yesterday I was told I didn't belong in a store that sells products my company helped put on those shelves. I was mocked, dismissed, judged not by my worth, but by my skin. But this isn't just about me. It's about the countless others treated the same way. Without the shield of a billionaire's ID." The crowd stirred, reporters scribbled furiously. "And so today I make this clear. I will not allow arrogance, prejudice, and humiliation to hide behind polished glass walls. This company will be held accountable. And if it means sacrificing my stake to protect the dignity of those they demeaned, so be it." Gasps rippled through the audience. Billionaires weren't supposed to talk like this. They were supposed to protect their money. But Marcus was different. Back at the boutique, the clerk who had humiliated Marcus watched the press conference on her phone. Her face was pale, her career in tatters. The very arrogance that fueled her words had now burned her life to ashes. But for Marcus, the fire was only beginning. That evening, another message arrived on his phone. This one wasn't anonymous. It came from the chairman of the board of Hale Enterprises. "Marcus, we need to talk. If you follow through with this, you won't just lose billions, you'll lose control of the company. We'll vote you out." The irony was sharp. He had fought prejudice in a store, but now the battle had shifted into the very heart of his empire, his own boardroom. A week later, Marcus walked into the board meeting. Every director was present, their eyes cold, calculating. The chairman leaned forward. "You've made quite the spectacle, Marcus. Noble, yes, but reckless. We're voting today. Either you back down or we remove you as CEO." The room went silent. Marcus looked around. scanning the faces of men and women who had once praised him, who had ridden his vision to wealth and power. Now, they stared as though he were disposable. His jaw tightened. He rose slowly, pulling out a folder. "Before you vote, there's something you should see." He spread photos and documents across the table, evidence gathered by Lydia. Not just about the boutique chain, but about shady dealings tied to board members themselves. Kickbacks, hidden accounts, discriminatory hiring practices. Marcus's voice cut through the silence. "You're worried about my outrage costing us billions? What about this costing us our souls? If you vote me out today, this evidence will go public. The choice is yours." The directors froze. The power shift was seismic. The man they thought they could silence had turned the weapon back on them. The chairman's face flushed with rage. "You wouldn't dare!" Marcus leaned in, his voice calm, unshaken. "Try me." By the end of the meeting, the vote was delayed. Marcus had bought himself time. Justice had been served in the boutique and now in the boardroom, but the war was far from over. Because as Marcus left the building, slipping into his car, his driver handed him a plain envelope, no return address. Inside was a single note typed in bold letters. "You've made enemies, Marcus, powerful enemies. Watch your back." His hand tightened around the paper. His eyes narrowed. This wasn't about a store anymore. It wasn't even about his company. This was about survival, and Marcus knew. The fight had only just begun. Life lesson. Sometimes, standing for justice means risking everything. Your comfort, your wealth, even your power. But true power isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the courage to do what's right, even when it costs you everything. If you were Marcus, would you risk losing your fortune to stand up for justice? Comment your answer below, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this.